It's the War Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out smackdowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here, no safe space. Now listen in, time to hear from some of the greats.
Welcome to the show, everybody. The War Report is live and in public, if you will. Steve is working, so he's not here. So it is me and Al and whoever else pops on. Nobody else has clicked the link yet, so I guess we'll see. How's it going, Al?
It's going, man. It's going. A little sick, but you know, it's war game season, baby. So I'm excited for the main event. There's a couple of matches I'm like, yeah, but you know, I'm excited about the main event and the second war game match. So, and the women's war game match looks awesome. Well, we'll get into it. I don't want to get into it right away. No. But yeah, I feel good outside of this cold. To answer your question.
Yeah, dude, that shit's going around.
Yeah, man, it's bad.
Even over here, like I'm not feeling so hot. You know, I'm fine, but like I know I've got like a little like I'm blowing my nose and stuff. It's rough out here. Hey Tanya, how's it going? Man, whenever I don't see a post from David in the comments like an hour before the show starts, I always get worried that something happened to David. So David, if you're out there, hope you're doing good, buddy. I'm going to just send a message to the group here if anyone else wants to join. There we go. Did you see AEW Full Gear this weekend?
I didn't see it, but I do have two guys that I work with that actually went to the event.
Oh, nice.
And they were just telling me, is this as good as an event as they've been to?
You know, I always say, you know, regardless of what you might feel about, you know, week to week trying to watch AEW, if you're somebody who enjoys a good wrestling pay-per-view that is just like 3-4 hours of wrestling matches, it's AEW. Right. That's the way. That's who you go for. Yeah, you know, I won't go through the whole thing here, but you know, some great stuff here forwarding the Death Riders storyline where Jon Moxley is losing and everyone else in the group is like winning and doing well. So it seems like we're on a path where Jon Moxley might get jumped out of the Death Riders.
So you see a face turn coming.
Yeah, not right away, but the way they look at him and the way they're acting now, because he tapped out again to Kyle O'Reilly, the second time in like 3 weeks that he's tapped out.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was a no holds barred match, and those guys like beat the shit out of each other, stabbed each other with forks. I mean, it was crazy.
I heard Swerve came back. Well, I didn't hear it. Yeah. I saw that one. I saw a clip. He came back jacked.
Dude, he's huge.
He came back like Randy Orton when he took that hiatus.
Yep. And he's him and Randy are on the same horse meat sandwich diet there. Hey Tara, hope you're doing. I really hope you are doing well, Tara. Not to, you know, we won't say it on the live stream. Tara's going through some stuff, so well wishes to Tara. If you guys know her, send her some messages, say hi, check in every now and again. Hope you're doing well,
Tara.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Swerve came back. First of all, some, you know, a lot of the finishes, well, a couple of them were surprising to me, which is nice. It's nice to watch a pay-per-view and have some question marks in there, like Ricochet winning this new AEW national championship. That's supposedly like a touring championship that they're going to send to different promotions.
Right.
And then, you know, the big shock of the night is that Samoa Joe beat Hangman Page for the AEW championship.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was kind of stunned. And the first thing that came to my mind, I'm like, wow, Samoa stays undefeated against Hangman because the big thing is he's never beat him.
Yeah, like that was, dude, that was wild because it was like real. Everybody just kind of thought, yeah, it's going to be one of those hard hitting cage matches, but Hangman Page, he just won the title at All In. He's not going to lose right now. So like the crowd was kind of just not, waiting. They're like, ah, yeah, we're waiting for the big moment, the buckshot and all that, but it was just like a whole, like they were waiting for like just the regular old finish, and then once they figured out that something was going on, they're like, oh my goodness, and it was well done because it was unexpected. You really didn't see it coming. Long story short is that Hook interfered. Well, first Shibata tried to interfere, and Eddie Kingston pulled him away, and then Hook ran into the cage. Oh, Hobbs also got in there. Hobbs ripped the door off. Hobbs ran in. Hangman took out Hobbs. Shibata tried to climb in. Eddie took Shibata out. Then Hook runs in, and you're like, Hook, who has been a babyface aligned with Eddie and all that against the Ops. He's wearing his big orange leather jacket, which was a huge giveaway to me. He picks up the title like he's gonna give it to Hangman, and he clocks him with it, man. He fucking beans him with it, and then unzips his orange leather jacket, and he's got an Ops shirt on, so he's back in the group or never left or whatever. And yeah, Samoa Joe is the new champion. Samoa Joe took a blade job. I don't know if you saw him holding the championship after the match. He took a blade job that like he was just covered like Stone Cold in that Bret Hart match, just covered in blood.
Oh shit.
It was a great. So you've got the Ops are the trios champions. Joe is the world champion. Hook's back in the group. They've got this thing now called the Hook or the Ops Dojo, where they've got a bunch of like the undercard jabroni guys wearing Ops shirts, and they just send them in to get like the shit kicked out of them. And like that's their only job is to be like security for the group, and they just get the shit kicked out of them. So at the end of the match, the Ops are all kicking the shit out of Hangman, and Swerve comes back out. The Swerve, the interesting thing is Swerve gets to the ring, new music, looking jacked, looking good. Samoa Joe backs the security up and points down to Hangman, and he goes, "He's all yours." He gave Swerve the chance to kick the shit out of Hangman, and he said no. He started beating up the security, chases the Ops out of the ring, and the last thing you see is Joe is on the stage with the Ops in the belt, and Hangman and Swerve side by side. Somebody put it best online. It's like Goku and Vegeta standing next to each other.
That's pretty awesome.
It's a great moment. And yeah, Terry, of course, I'm glad. It does suck that it's happening this time. It sucks to happen any time of year, but especially around the holidays. But I'm glad you're doing okay. And it's definitely, that 2 sentences is not a long-winded response. The other shock of the night, real quick, before we get into some other stuff, is that there was a TNT championship match where Mark Briscoe was challenging. Him and Kyle Fletcher have been going back and forth on wins, but he's never beat. But so Mark's beaten him a couple times, but in non-title matches and like stipulation matches and stuff. So the stipulation this time was the championship was on the line, and if Mark lost his challenge, then he would have to join the Don Callis family. And this seems like complete easy setup. We've all seen the story before. Babyface loses because he gets fucked over and then has to unwillingly join the group. And then all of a sudden you've got, the redneck Mark Briscoe wearing suits and they're trying to fit him into the Don Callis family, but it doesn't really work. And by that, there's a point where he turns on them and, you understand where that story's going. But this was another surprising one. Mark Briscoe did it. Mark Briscoe beat Kyle Fletcher and is the TNT champion, man. He's a singles champion.
He's been I've seen him a lot on TV in this past year when he came in and signed with them. So he I if I was a betting man, I was definitely betting on him getting a strap sooner or later because he had some high profile matches when he came back. So
right.
it was pretty cool.
And he was always a guy that was like, his brother Jay was Ring of Honor world champion several times over. They were tag team champions together. Mark always felt like he was the second brother, like he was the Jannetty, and that his brother was the Shawn Michaels. And so he never had the confidence to be a singles competitor. And when his brother passed away, he really, he said he was never going to work a tag team match again like that. He'll work trios matches and stuff, but he's not going to have like a regular tag team partner for tag team championships, and almost was like not going to work singles matches. And like, it's just a nice story that he's, found a place in AEW when, like, the Briscoes were never given that shot by anybody. WB, Discovery, whoever kept them off the air because of some stuff Jay said on Twitter like a decade ago. It was just like all real unfortunate stuff. And Mark, they showed a great video package before, Mark talking about his brother, clips of his brother and his father and his family, and like really great little video package before the match. And then they put the belt on him. It's a great moment. Good stuff, man. And maybe the last headline here is that during the big, there was a big trios match. Josh Alexander and the Young Bucks beat Kenny Omega and the Jurassic Express. And Don Callis has been trying to get the Young Bucks to join the Don Callis family as well. And they were given the opportunity to attack after the match, attack Luchasaurus, Jack Perry, and Kenny Omega. And they decided that they were going to, at first they walked away. They won their money. They had their bags full of money. They were walking away with Don Callis. And Kenny and the Jurassic Express were getting jumped by the rest of the Don Callis family. So Don's moving the Young Bucks away from the ring, and they keep looking back over their shoulder. He's like, no, never mind. No. And eventually the Young Bucks look at each other like, all right, fuck it. They take the bags of money. They were supposed to have won, like, it was $1 million split 3 ways. So $300,000 plus in the bag. They give both the bags, duffel bags, to Don Callis. They run back in the ring. They start super kicking everybody. They clear the Don Callis family out of the ring. Jack Perry and Luchasaurus put their hands out. Young Bucks handshake.
Nice.
They turn around. They turn around to Kenny Omega. They put their hands out like they're going to shake his hand. Kenny slaps their hands away. And everybody goes, oh shit. And then he gives him a hug, and they're like, and the whole crowd goes ape shit.
That's cool.
So it seems like,
so they're going back to that old team of them when it was the 3 of them.
It seems like the Elite is back together, and it might even be because originally it was Cody, the Bucks, and Kenny Omega were the Elite, and then that group kind of changed as time went on. But then there was the point where the Elite was the Bucks with Okada and Jack Perry after the whole CM Punk thing. So there's a precedent that Jack Perry's already been in the Elite before. So you could have both of those guys now, this new reformed Elite could be the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and the Jurassic Express, which would be pretty good.
How many guys does Don Callis have?
Fucking 12. Like, it's ridiculous.
Okay.
He has Okada. He has Takeshita. He has Hechicero, Josh Alexander. Couple of them are injured, like Brian Cage is injured. He has Rocky Romero and Trent, so that's 7. And then he in and out. He's had quite a few people in this fucking stable. It's like the what did Jimmy Hart call his? The First Family. It's kind of like that, or Heenan's group, where every week it seems like there's another 2 or 3 guys added to it. But yeah, worth catching if you haven't seen. Good stuff. I guess we can move on to the WWE stuff now that we've kind of addressed the AEW pay-per-view, because we don't usually talk about them. So I figured big pay-per-view, title changes, might as well talk about it for a few minutes. Did you see SmackDown and or Raw?
I saw both this week.
All right, excellent. So I'm just going to pull up the SmackDown results thing. Come on. I should have pulled this up before the show. Why would it give me results for November 20? Oh, because it's pre-taped. I don't want results for next week. That's rough. Everybody wants to give spoilers for last week. That's because they taped 2 in a row.
Right.
For the holiday, obviously. Anyway, here we go.
So do people pay 1 ticket and get 2 matches?
Yeah, I think they got both shows. So and the cool thing is about that. So for the first show, it's live or whatever. Or, yeah, it was. I would assume it was live. And the second show, because it's taped, you don't have to sit through the commercials and shit. So they'll just do match segment, get that shit done.
Oh, nice.
Or at least they should. So McIntyre, yeah, this is this is the silliest fucking show. Oh, I can't. I'm so glad we're talking about this now because Raw and SmackDown are just so tonally different from the AEW stuff. Like the AEW stuff is just like, I don't know, it's very gritty. It's very like not
It's
low
straight
budget.
wrestling.
Yeah, it's just right. It's very much like it just reminds me of old WCW stuff. And like this WWE, these stories are so weird. It's like Cody got attacked in his tour bus. I'm like, oh, poor Cody, fucking millionaire with his tour bus got attacked. It's like so like, hey, keep retweeting every time they break into attendance record, you schmucks. You don't realize you're doing it to yourselves. But the only thing I find silly about this is that he gets murdered at the top of the show. And by the end of the show, he's all cleaned up. It's like he never even got cut. And he's out there giving this rah. And listen, it was a great promo. It got the crowd very hyped for War Games. And then Monday night, they completely fucking ruined it. So Cody went out there and gave it his all on Friday night. But it was just like, I don't know, dude. He came out. It was almost like in a video game, somebody gave him like a health pack in between segments. You know what I mean? Like he was all busted up and on the ground, and then next thing you know, he's out there leading the cavalry into charge. Great promo though. I mean, he can't deny Cody's always had that ability to
he's awesome.
like that even like you go back into AEW, it's like I don't need a partner, I don't need this, I need my big brother, and that's like how him and Dustin reconciled. So some cool stuff there. Let's see here. So Ilya Dragunov's been on this open challenge thing. Wrestles JD McDonough, which is fine, but like, is the result ever in question? If you're wrestling JD McDonough, you're winning that match.
Well, I've heard and I've read something about him, and the issue is they're having problems booking people with him because how physical he is in the ring. And he literally beats the shit out of people when he wrestles them.
Oh my God.
So they really are not lining up, and very few wrestlers are stepping up to the challenge. And knowing the fact that they're not going over, it's not like, I'm all right.
Right.
I'll go wrestle Dragon Lee.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's an easier match for sure.
Yeah, so that's what I've read. That is the issue with a lot of wrestlers.
Very interesting. Okay.
And yes, it's never in doubt. But again, it's I guess this is the belt of opportunity, right? So it's those guys that are not going to get a shot at those belts because they're never going to win a tournament or be in a battle on the mic with somebody that's prolific enough, because they're not going to quote unquote waste their time on them. So I guess this is what he's doing now till and maybe they start putting the competition harder and harder until the guy that he can't go over anymore and takes his belt eventually.
As Dave Abbey says, it's bad when his big rival is Ciampa.
Right, like it's like a has-been half tag team champion that's never really truly made it over as a singles wrestler. That's not a threat. It's a good warm-up match, but it's not a threat.
Right. Yeah, I think that's got to be a thing where, like, if he's like, let's say he feuds with both of them, so he ends up wrestling both of them, and he has a good feud, but ultimately Dragunov wins because he has to like feud with a singles superstar that actually has a shot at
right. Like you know what? And I'm gonna tell you, if WWE does it correctly and gives them good stories going, like make it literally a pyramid challenge. Like it's like This is level easy.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is easy medium. This is medium. This is medium hard. This is hard. This is holy shit. And this is holy shit. You're losing. You know, like that kind of stuff. Like
yeah.
it'll be interesting because and not only that, portray it in the wrestling also, right? Like make him struggle as he moves
Yes,
on. Everybody doesn't get their ass beat, right? That's very
absolutely.
important in a storyline to keep us interested because now it's like, oh, okay, he's not beating them up like he was beating Champa and his tag team partner and all these other lower scale guys. It is getting harder for him, you know, and
Right.
it keeps you invested. And by the time he loses, for us it won't matter because it'll be such a great match that he tried so hard that all right, cool. It doesn't matter if he doesn't has the bell or not. We're still behind him.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of that. And I think the idea of watching him, because he's just beating the tar out of these freaking guys. And for him to then go to the next level where the next level of competitor is a little bit harder and he's still winning, but yeah, it's a little bit of a struggle. Then it's more of a struggle. And then finally, yeah, maybe there's this big superstar that he can't overcome. And yeah, so Terry, yeah, we're saying if you wrestle JD McDonough, I'm fairly sure any of like Al could wrestle JD McDonough and beat him. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, I can't lose to Lord Farquaad. There's, there's no way I'm losing to a fucking Disney character.
Hell no.
I'm
We
losing
don't.
to Dirty Dom before I'm losing to him.
Oh yeah, you'd lose the. No, anybody would lose the Dirty Dom. That's an easy choice.
Shit, John
JD, no,
Cena
no.
might.
Yeah, John Cena's putting this kid over. He's gonna.
I think so. I mean, it's the right thing to do.
You put the title on John for a month, you get it back at a big pay per view. You know, it'll be a good moment for him to actually like have that under his belt after John Cena retires. He can remind people I was the last guy to beat John Cena, or the second to last guy, or whatever it is. I was the last one to beat him for a title. He's a lot of things that he could claim there.
I mean, shit, he might be able to claim the youngest to beat John Cena. I don't know how young he is, but
Oh, that's true.
yeah, because usually guys that beat John Cena are high profile guys. I don't remember the last like young
Yeah,
guy or mid Carter to beat John
right.
Cena. Like,
Unless Randy Orton beat him in like 2004. You know what I mean? That's the only way it works.
right, right.
But yeah, that would be an interesting thing to look
Well,
into.
youngest guy this decade. Let's say that.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, for sure. Uh, by a long shot. Carmelo Hayes beats Bronson Reed. Cody comes in, hits the crossroads on Bronson Reed on the outside, cuts his big old promo, all that stuff.
I'm in regards to Carmelo. If Gunther wasn't in this tournament, I would really want. I still would like them to put the belt on him. I can't change my vote outside of Gunther because it's Gunther.
Mhm.
But man, I would like that kid Mello to get that belt or get that opportunity to beat Cena. That would be great for his career, I think.
Dude, Carmelo Hayes, and I'm a little biased because I worked with him many, many moons ago. And of course, I'm in my basement doing a podcast, and he's live on cable television once a week. But when he started, he was Christian Casanova, and he came out looking like Michael Jackson. He had the fedora, the glove, the red shiny jacket, he did the moonwalk, the whole deal, right? And you'd book him on these shows, and he would get squashed by guys like Big Jim, who was around this way. You would just put him in the match. He was a little skinny kid, and you'd put him in there against big guys, and you just watch him get squashed. And I would just sit there and watch. And I go, man, something's got to change for him. There's something. This gimmick ain't working. Something's got to change. And as soon as he got, obviously somebody at the Performance Center saw that, and they brought him in, and they trained him up, and they brought him onto NXT, and changed his name, changed his whole gimmick around. He's put on a lot more muscle. I'm real happy for him, man. It just speaks to how dedicated. I saw him wrestle on a show at a fair, and the next match was a midget wrestle. Okay. So like he's been through it. He's been paid that handshake and a hot dog that everybody talks about. That's the guy. He's been through that for years, and now he came out on the other side of WWE superstar.
Hey, man, paid his due, and I mean he's great at his craft. So whatever he went through, it was worth it because that kid is very good. He's
Yeah.
definitely grown on me.
Yeah, he's and you know that's part of the good thing about this NXT program. Sometimes, unfortunately, not the best track record of getting people from NXT to the main roster and having it translate well.
Right.
I just think he's one of those guys that unless they really don't know how to book him, like how could you mess this up? He's a young guy, he's got a good look, people like him, he wrestles well. All you got to do is give him a bad guy to go against and you know, get him a little sympathy, have him go over a big, you know, big underdog. He works his way up and beats this big opponent, maybe somebody like a Gunther, and then he's fucking made. Like he's ready made to be a superstar.
Truly is.
Him and Trick Williams, and we'll beat that. I will beat that one to the ground until they finally do it. Trick Williams is the fucking truth for those guys, and I don't. Again, it's a Carmelo Hayes style problem. It seems like a slam dunk. What are we doing?
It's like Obafemi too. Like that
Yes.
guy. I heard him cut a promo the other day, and I guess he was off TV for a little bit, but came back bigger than I couldn't think he could get bigger. This guy's fucking bigger now.
Yeah,
He's fucking huge.
He's
Like
a monster.
He's a huge human being.
He really is.
And he cuts a great promo, and he talks very powerful. I can't wait to see that guy in the main roster.
I think it's just a matter of time. I think he should be one of those guys that gets featured. Him and Trick Williams should both be featured, unless Trick got called up in the draft. But they should be featured on this last time show, the Saturday night's main event, where they're having NXT versus WWE showcase matches.
They haven't mentioned a roster yet, right? Or any matches yet for that.
No, they haven't announced that yet. We only got 2 weeks, man. A little over 2 weeks. They gotta announce that card.
I guess they want to get through War Games before they concentrate on that, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I'll kind of talk about one of these matches, and then which will lead into a Monday night thing, and I guess we can kind of bleed over into Monday night if I can pull the results up on the right tab and not cover up the fucking window with the camera on it like I just did. I covered up my whole chat screen. I couldn't see anything because I opened the tab in the wrong window. Here we go. So Finn Balor was beaten by Penta on Friday.
Right.
And then did Penta's injury happen Monday? Or did that happen on the tape show for next week?
No, that happened Monday because he was it was a 3-way.
Yeah.
And he couldn't finish the match.
Dude, this fucking guy is cursed. Like this Monday Night Raw is cursed. This whole Monday Night Raw, I think, was cursed top to bottom. Starting with that fucking promo with Reigns and Punk and Cody. Like, but let's talk about Penta right now because he was in the tournament. He's, he was, they're giving him a big push ever since he signed over from AEW. Like he's been hot. And then, like you said, he was in this 3-way match. He did a Hurricane Rana or a head scissors to Solo on the outside. So there's padding, but it's not like landing in the ring. He lands right on his left shoulder and pops it out. And from what I've heard, 6 to 12 months, UCL.
Jeez.
Yep.
And they were just having plans. Him and his brother cut a promo together in AAA.
Yeah.
Past weekend. So I guess there was a reunion of them too. And now Ray Phoenix is gonna just get put in squash matches and shit like that. That's gonna suck for him. Unless they team him up with like Dragon Lee or something.
I was just gonna say they need to put him with Dragon Lee or somebody else. They at least need to bring another masked luchador in for him to wrestle this tag team match, because they did announce for the next AAA, like the big next AAA pay-per-view, that the Lucha Brothers were reuniting, which was awesome to hear. And now, like,
hey,
2 days later, man,
what if WWE makes a business decision and makes it Rey Mysterio, and Rey Mysterio wins a AAA tag team title with him and becomes a double champ again? And then you have a feud.
I wouldn't hate that.
Then you have a feud with the Judgment Day because he's teaming up with Rey.
Right.
Has to spend time with him. And then you can put another Rith on that side.
I don't hate it, man. I think
they could go against Lord Farquaad and Finn Balor for the title and beat them.
Yes.
That would be great.
Yeah, man. I'm all for it. I think they got to, the main event scene is what it is. It is Aura farming moments and big superstars. The undercard needs to be the fucking wrestling and the sideshow stuff that we like. So the more that they can throw these, these kind of things at you, especially in a situation where WWE is always, it seems to me, tell me if what do you think about this, when WWE is put in a position where they have to pivot on a storyline, they usually find a way to make it work.
Yeah, I mean that's what they get paid for, right?
Right. But like so there
I have
are
a question.
Go ahead.
Since you're more of a wrestling guy in the back end of things,
Yeah.
do you think? I mean, although we saw this Raw, in the back thing on Netflix, which was pretty cool, do you ever think they have a backup plan? Like they say, all right, we're going this route. God forbid something happen. This is our backup because, like you said, they always have a way to switch and make it work. Like, is there ever a conversation about that? At least not for every match, but let's call it like your main matches, like a WrestleMania is main event type thing.
Yeah, so I think they probably do have a lot of branches that they could take. They probably have a couple like, emergency levers they can pull in terms of like if someone gets injured or whatever, they can kind of pivot to somebody else. But as much as I think they have those backup plans in place, sometimes I think they just go in the moment of what like makes sense with what's happening on TV, trying to get people interacting in the right way so that whoever is replacing your injured superstar, it makes sense that they're in there. You know what I mean? Like they figure out, they tend to figure out a way that it feels organic, even if they had to kind of like, they're forced to do it.
Right.
But I don't know. I feel like they probably for big main event plans, like if they're like, oh, if Cody goes down, we go with Drew,
Punk.
or if
Right.
or Punk, right? If Punk goes down, we go with Seth, something like that. There's definitely that in place, but I don't know if there's like storylines written. They might just have a guy in mind or like two guys in mind. If things go south, we have to bring in so and so and so and so.
Right. Okay.
Rather than like a detail. Yeah, that would be my guess. But
your educated guess.
Right, that's the best guess I can make. Because you do want to have a backup plan. If you have a challenger and it's not going well, you got to figure out who the next best challenger is going to be after that guy's done. And you have to find a way to write them out that writes the new challenger in. Or if it's a champion that's not working, it's the same way. You have to figure out an opponent that makes sense to beat them, that gets the right kind of heat, and that also gets the title off the person you don't want the belt on. So
right,
it's a lot of math. There was a
guy, it's like a chess game, right? You got to just start moving pieces around then.
Right, and there was a guy who, when he first started with WWE, and he was there for a long time. He was, I forget his name, but he was like the co-writer of Raw, and they used to give him a lot of shit because he would have like one of those cork boards, and he'd have like notes, and like he'd have like file fold, like he'd have the all the like note cards tacked up on it, and he'd have like file folders and 3-ring binders with like storyline plans, and everybody's sitting there like, aha, what are you doing, man? We're writing a wrestling TV show. We're just, we're gonna go sit in the writer's room. We're going to sit at Vince's pool and write the show like we always did for the last 20 years. And he's like, no, we're writing a TV show. We should have like a Bible of things that resources we can tap into. And he changed Raw. He was the guy that turned Raw into what it was because he was able to keep these storylines together. And, they've been using that process now. When you watch that behind the scenes show, it's not a cork board and index cards anymore. We've moved on to whiteboards and like digital displays and keeping everything into Google Drives or whatever. But it's the same kind of principle now. You have to have like, remember when you'd write a book report in elementary school and they would be like, you put the idea in the middle and you draw a circle and you draw little spokes out. And it was all the separate ideas that you wanted for the essay. It was kind of like that. Like
brainstorming.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the brainstorming map, and that they'll have those, and then you can kind of choose where you go from each of those little nodes on the map. At least that's how I would do it, and that's what it seems like they do on their whiteboards. But anyway, let's clear up some of these comments before we get fully into Raw. David Roska's here. His Rams. How about them? So that's where David was. He was celebrating the Rams' victory at the beginning of the show. Let's see here. Tara likes Carmelo Hayes a lot as well. Dave A didn't like the lack of selling from Hayes, or was it? Yeah, no. Was it who? Lack of selling the injury Gunther spot after he chopped the ring post pissed me off. Who chopped the ring post? I'm Monday. Oh, Monday. Okay. Oh, it was Carmelo against Gunther. Gotcha. Okay. So he didn't like Carmelo selling there, or no selling. Tara says, every time I hear Trick's name, I think to myself, please God, don't let Brody figure out what whoop that Trick means.
Wait, did Carmelo beat Gunther?
No.
Or Gunther beat Melo.
Gunther beat Melo.
Okay.
On Monday. Yeah.
Okay, I thought I was bugging.
No, you wouldn't that have been nice?
Mm-hmm.
But no. Let's see here. Whoop that Trick guy. Grande Americano. Do you think Solo was really supposed to beat Penta? No. Gunther, yeah, Gunther won. I don't think that whole thing. They had to do the stoppage there.
I think there was going to be interference from their War Game match, so one of them would have cost them the match against Penta.
Right,
like they would have came in to interfere when the MFTs would try to interfere in the match against them.
Yeah, something would have happened. In my head, I think Penta was definitely. Well, you can see it. You can see it on the face of what is it, Tala Tonga and Solo. First of all, they both looked horrified. Like you knew that injury was legit because the two guys, the heels in the match, were looking like, oh shit. Like when
they
Solo,
they fell out of character.
So you knew it was bad. Oh, poor guy. So yeah, they had to do the medical stoppage and move on. But yeah, I don't think that definitely wasn't the planned winner. Let me see here real quick. What did you? So the opening promo of the night had your three biggest superstars, the two champions and Roman Reigns, talking about their War Games match. And for the first time I can remember in a long time, they got what chance?
Mm-hmm.
They got what chance?
That is probably as bad as a promo I've heard all three of them have done in years.
And we're just talking about Cody. Cody's trying to build to this fucking War Games match on SmackDown. This big rah-rah promo. He just, he had the blood trickling down his face earlier in the night. And we come out Monday night and then this happens.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was awkward. Even when Roman Reigns says the thing about the belt, like it was just awkward. It even left us like, huh?
Yeah, like why would you bring that up right now? Like there's no reason you can bring this up after. You don't need to bring it up before the War Games
I'll tell
match.
you what, I feel the disconnect you see in the guys' team clearly tells me heels are going over.
Yeah.
That's what I read right away from everything I'm looking at. There's, you got too much issues between too many people. Like Roman don't like nobody. Jimmy's got a problem with Roman. CM Punk and Cody, are they really friends? Jay is turning into fucking Roman.
Right.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's too much for them to all end up working out in the end. Real quick, so Tara, they called the match because Penta injured his left shoulder and he needs shoulder surgery. He popped it out of socket. And Dave Abbey, I can't wait to see Punk stop Roman from going to the ring the way Roman did to him last year. Now that would be a good callback. And again, speaks to the tension between them.
Yeah.
And I'm on your side, Al, in terms of the baby faces or the heels winning this match. I'm a big proponent of heel teams winning War Games matches. I think it can't happen every single time, obviously, but I think.
But it's a dirty game. It should be their game, right?
Right.
Baby faces or baby faces.
It should be like a 60-30 split, heels winning over baby faces in War Games. because, like you said,
100%.
it's a dirty game. But the baby faces should be able to eke out a win every couple of years, and it's like that's the big moment. Is like they finally won a War Games. But I think, like the if you watched AEW Blood and Guts a couple weeks ago, the women's War Game match, the person who surrendered and gave up the match was Toni Storm, but she wasn't the one that was being put in the submission hold. Her partner, Mina Shirakawa, was being put in a chokehold by Marina Shafir, and the rest of the girls were too. It was like that. You remember when was it Casino? Joe Pesci's brother gets killed, and they make him watch as his brother gets killed.
Yeah.
They were two of the girls were holding her, and then one girl was choking Mina, and the other ones were beating Mina and stomping her and shit. And they're just like making Toni watch, and the referee is right there, and they make Toni say Mina didn't quit; she never tapped out, but Toni Storm quit the match on her behalf so they would stop. That's what I think that's how heel teams win War Games. It's like you said, they play dirty. They prey on your relationships and how much you like the other teammate. Those five on the heel team didn't like it. They don't care for each other at all. They don't give a shit.
Right.
So that, they're all dirty bastards, and they all know what business they're getting into going into a War Games. They just need somebody who they know is just as dirty as they are fighting on their side. So
Right.
War Games is it's so funny that WWE switched Survivor Series over to War Games, because War Games was the superior match, always was, from the 80s, even all the way back.
I tell you what though, I would love War Games. Don't get me wrong; it's a great pay-per-view. It could actually be another main event pay-per-view, as long as you do Survivor Series like you did back in the day when we grew up, man.
And I agree.
Matches, elimination matches, and then you have the captains of every team at the end battle against each other for the main match.
And so what's funny is that I think they only did the Ultimate Survivor thing once or twice in the Survivor Series history, but everybody remembers it because that was like the big tournament that ended with Hogan and Warrior going 2-on-5 against a heel team and winning.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
agree.
The one I always remember.
I was just watching it earlier. WWE Vault has the Survivor Series, old school Survivor Series matches on loop right now, a live stream. So
nice.
I've been checking that out. I love that. And then the other one has Clash of the Champions going. The WCW Vault has Clash of the Champions right now. But Dave Abbey coming in. The faces don't really get anything with a win, but if the heels lose, it does major damage to the Vision. Yeah, I don't think they're looking to do major damage to the Vision, though. There's already major damage been done to the Vision. Seth Rollins is injured. How much more damage do they need?
Yeah, but I think what Dave means is, like, you got to keep them relevant, right? You don't want them, because at the end of the day, you don't have a team within the faces. It's just like the Avengers assembling when they didn't know each other. At the end of the day, they are going up against a crew, Vision, and not only that, they are three Paul Heyman guys in that group, right?
Yeah, because I guess if Brock is in the group, I mean, he's technically in the group, I guess.
I wouldn't say he's in the group, but it's like you said, like I think it was you that corrected me a few months back when I said, "Is Brock in the group?" And no, it was Steve, and he was like, "Well, he owes them a favor." And I'm like, okay, so he's just like the enforcer. He comes in, and he's a Paul Heyman guy, so I guess he's okay with the other guys.
Rings a bell. Yeah, absolutely. And then Dave Abbey says exactly, so he agrees with you there, Al. We got about 15 minutes left. This is what happens when the Yankees aren't playing. We actually talk wrestling for the whole hour if it's just me and Al. But what did you think of this this fake out, the John Cena thing? And it turns out that Dominic brings out a midget wrestler. Listen, I'm not being offensive. He works the guy works for a midget wrestling company. Dwarf, little person, whatever you want to call it. But he works for like Midget Wrestling Warriors or one of those things. He's named like Psycho Mike or whatever. And then they had another guy whose name I forget playing Little Stu. So you had a Lil John Cena and a Lil Stu. And Lil Stu, nobody caught this. He was holding a camcorder, and the type of tape you needed to use in that camcorder was a mini DV. So even the camera was mini.
Uh,
So you
That's
had
great.
mini John Cena, mini Stu, and then you had they had real Stu filming it. So you had a shot of real Stu filming little Stu, who was filming little John Cena. And then little John Cena gets in the ring, and of course, gets the crap kicked out of him by Dominic.
That was great. I thought it was awesome.
I heard
I really thought it was funny. You know, it like you said, as a wrestler, right? It's not like they went and got a non-wrestling little person to do this. You know, it
which
was
they've done in the past.
right, but which I don't think TKO would get into that right now.
No.
So, like, you know, it was all fun and games. It was cool. It's a way to keep John Cena relevant, his name around, even though he's not there. You heard the pop, and you know the people got it, and it did what it had to do. It gave Dom some heat. It's obviously pulling that off. It tells you that WWE is nowhere near to pulling the trigger to make Dom a face.
Right.
Yes, that
Yeah.
gives you tremendous heat. Like there was actual people booing him because I'm sure there were some people that didn't like what he did.
Well, think about it, man. You're there. You know that John Cena is not advertised for this is during his last run, and this is one of the shows he's not advertised for. You hear his music, you're like, oh shit, they're surprising us with an extra John Cena appearance on his road to retirement.
That's what I thought.
And it's a huge fake out. I mean, I would be so if you paid hundreds of dollars for those tickets, it's the perfect kind of heat. It's such a troll thing to do. But some of the reaction online was like, oh, I bet you it sounds like Vince McMahon is back. Or maybe he like texted Triple H or something and gave him the idea. Or like some people were saying, oh, Triple H is obsessed with midgets because he did a lot of midget stuff with DX and Hornswoggle and the Little People's Court.
Have you heard this rumor that they're saying that Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels used to sleep together?
I've heard that one for
I
a
think
while.
Bret Hart's the one that started it.
Bret Hart did say it, but it's not the first time that I've heard it. It's just Bret's being Bret. Bret is a troll in a good, like he's an internet troll. He's so mad. This is 30 years later. This man knows how to hold a fucking grudge.
This feels to him like it was yesterday.
Absolutely. He wakes up every day thinking it's 1997 and he's so sour about it. Like it's rough for poor Bret. He's a sweet guy. I've met him a bunch of times. He's really nice. But if you get him, it's one of those things where like if you talk to your grandpa about the war, you know, it's like one of those
you talk to right back to it.
Right. You talk to a veteran about going to Iraq after 9/11. Yeah, you're gonna get the story. Like, don't just Bret Hart is so cool unless you mention Goldberg, Shawn Michaels, or Vince McMahon, and then you're in for a fucking story. Let's see what Dave thinks. This match is where the Judgment Day. Come on, get up there. There we go. I really think this match where Judgment Day finally break up and Dom turns face by stopping them from interfering.
Interfering in is Cena match?
Right. He's going to send them away because he wants to beat Cena straight up one-on-one.
Nah, not happening. He wants his belt back.
Yeah, listen, we've been thinking about this fucking breakup for a while. It's going to happen. Or like A-Town Down, one of them is going to get injured and then they're just going to fucking forget about it. But so far that hasn't happened. But
Dom's turn is only right to be full circle and happen with his dad getting the piss beaten out of him.
Yeah.
And he just turns like, you know what? That is my father. And he just takes him off of him.
Here's what I would be okay with. Dom being Dom, lying, cheating, stealing to win. Or actually, you know what? Maybe Dom doesn't cheat. Maybe that's what sets this match apart. Dom says he's not gonna cheat, and he beats John Cena. And after the match, his dad comes out to congratulate him. And then the Judgment Day comes out, and they're getting ready to beat up Rey Mysterio. And Dom's like, no, this is my dad. And they're in San Diego. Dom just won the title back, IC title back from Cena. You got both Mysterios in the ring, and they go back to back, ready to go, fighting against the Judgment Day.
I don't hate it.
I don't know. I don't know when this, but I agree with the turn. Your idea that the turn has to come with Ray being in a position where he's about to get beat up by the Judgment Day, and Dom makes the decision to go with his dad.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think
That's
it has to
100%.
happen that way.
And I mean, it would be such a way, even like you said, you know, the way this one of the promos went a couple weeks ago about, you know, you can't be the best Mysterio when I'm still around. Maybe we are leading up to a Intercontinental title versus mask/career match, Dom and Ray at WrestleMania, and that's where this all goes down.
After he beats him,
You're right. So Dom wins. They're sharing the
Retires
emotional
his
moment.
dad.
Right, is retiring his dad. They're kind of hugging it out in the ring. Judgment Day comes in and they're gonna like send Rey Mysterio's career off in a stretcher, and that's where Dom turns.
Or they come outside and they like just beef with him, like, yo, what are you doing hugging your dad, and start pushing him or whatnot.
Right. So they get, and then he's like pushes you guys like, no, that's my family, you know, whatever. You know, that could be a big so maybe it's a WrestleMania moment. I don't know, man. That Rey Mysterio promo has been bugging me for like a month because it sounded like he was setting up some sort of retirement thing or like a mask versus title thing or some sort of stipulation. Didn't sound that way.
Well, the only reason I think they stopped talking about that, it was more like an Easter egg, and then obviously they gave him this run with John Cena, unless this is something they put in at the end because they realized how hot he is.
Yeah, this could have been like a John Cena call, like, hey, I need to work with this kid before.
Right, exactly. And it was like, all right, we'll put that on hold because that could always be there, you know? John ain't going to be here forever.
Right. So yeah, they can always go back to it after the Cena stuff is done. The women had a big brawl. The guys had a big brawl. The heels have the advantage in the men's war games.
I think the women have it in the heels. Women also have it in the women's war game,
and that's really the way you have to do it. The heels should have the advantage most of the time. Again, like the heels should be winning these things. Every so often a babyface team can win, but really, what at that point then it becomes like 2-on-1, 3-on-2, etc. for the baby faces until it evens up at the end, and that's kind of the reverse of what most matches are, where the baby faces kind of get beat down for a lot of it and then make a big comeback. So that reverses the flow, unless you can figure out a way that once a new heel gets in the ring, the two heels team up and like take out one of the other babyface guys with a double team move, and then instead of 3-on-2, it's 2-on-2, and then it's a little more even, something like that. But in general, I think the heel team should have the advantage in a war games. And dude, I think that's it. I mean, we're getting towards the top of the hour. We covered Raw and SmackDown for the most part. You know, I left out a couple segments that, like, I don't know, who gives a shit about Rey Mysterio versus JD McDonough? Again, you know, I could beat him. Fucking. Is this it? Well, no, we got one more show. We got a Friday SmackDown, and then the pay-per-view is this weekend. Is that accurate?
Right. All we got to do is go through who we think's going to win. So pop up.
All right, let me get these results
matches
up. The Survivor Series. All right, I've got. Man, Wikipedia has so much before you get to the thing with the matches on it. Stephanie Vaquer versus Nikki Bella, singles match for the Women's World Championship.
No way. I think Vaquer's losing. I'm gonna stay with Vaquer.
I hope she wins. I don't know if she's gonna win because I just feel like it's one of those things. It's like, it's Nikki Bella. It's her last run. She's a heel. They can have her cheat. She can win it and then drop it back to Stephanie or whatever. I don't particularly want to see that.
But if you were a betting man, who you got your money on?
I'm going with you. I'm going with Stephanie. Now listen, if I was actually betting money, this is my dad's strategy. Bet on the person or team that you want to lose. So if your team wins, you lose money. But if your team loses, you win money and you don't feel as bad.
You lose money, you don't feel that bad.
Right, yeah. Right. So if I'm just doing a pick 'em,
I'm not mad at that strategy. I like it.
Right, like a Yankees Red Sox. He always bets on the Red Sox because then he's like, well, if the Yankees lose, I still take a little scratch home.
Okay, I
So,
like that.
but I think I listen. Everything tells me Stephanie should win this fucking match, and even Tara agrees. Stephanie, Nikki bugs me. John Cena, Dominic Mysterio, Intercontinental Championship. We've been talking about this a little bit, man. I think Dominic takes it back. What about you?
I'm Team Dominic, man. I think that kid deserves this title.
He's hot right now.
And he's been doing a great job with it. So put it back on him.
I agree, man. He's hot, and taking the title off him for a couple weeks to get John Cena into that Grand Slam club is not a bad idea. You lose nothing by losing to a legend, and you gain a lot more by beating that legend a month later to get your title back. So that'll all be a good. It's all good things for Dominic as long as they're able to put together a good match, have a good finish, and then have a good follow-up for Dominic going forward once John Cena's out of the picture. Tara agrees, Dominic. If anybody else has any thoughts, throw them in. And then the women's war games, I'll read David's comment first. Dave Abbey goes, Becky's going to cost the heel team the match. Yeah, I don't think you can. I don't think both heel teams are going over. Usually with this, even like Blood and Guts, they usually split. You split men, women, whatever. Royal Rumble is the same way. You can, you want to split baby faces and heels winning. I'll go with the babyface team. So the babyface team is Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, and AJ Lee going against Nia Jax, Lash Legend, the Kabuki Warriors, and Becky Lynch. What do you think?
I'm going with the heels. And the reason I'm going with the heel is because for some reason, I feel every week they're making this girl Lashley, whatever that's her name, right?
Lash Legend.
Lash Legend. They're trying to make her like a very strong presence.
Yeah, they're really presenting her as a big deal.
Very big deal. So I feel she's going to be the X factor in the match, and the division amongst Charlotte and Rhea is gonna cost enough distraction time to have them, capitalize on that and go over. So I'm taking the heels.
Excellent. I can see that because you've got Rhea and Io, who are friends, and Alexa and Charlotte, who are friends, and AJ Lee's like the captain going against Becky to neutralize her. But if you've got Rhea and Charlotte going at each other, then Alexa is going to have to be focused on Charlotte. Io is going to have to focus on Rhea. So it's really just AJ by herself against 5 people if everybody's handling interpersonal drama. So yeah, I could absolutely see someone on that team getting overwhelmed by the other, by the heel team because the baby faces can't keep it together.
Absolutely. And all it takes is 1 second of argument for a few share shots to go around.
That's very true. Tara picks the babyface team, and David said Abby says they're trying to make Lash into Naomi.
I feel like they're trying to make her something a little bit more powerful. I could see her going up against Nia if she turns face, or what's her name? Our new champ, Jade.
Jade, yeah.
That would be matches I would like to see, because she's actually good in the ring. I've seen her in some tag team matches. She wrestled when they called her up, and she didn't do bad.
Yeah, no, she was. Oh, and she played for the Seattle Storm. I didn't realize that.
I did not know that.
In the WNBA. So her real name is Anrielle Howard. She played for Texas A&M and Mississippi State, drafted in the 2nd round of the NBA draft, played 1 season with the Seattle Storm, and now she's wrestling. What an interesting career.
Definitely is.
That's cool.
Great athlete.
And that seems to be the thing. When somebody comes in from the outside, like a Logan Paul, if you've got a good athletic base, if you've got good cardio, if you're coordinated enough to play boxing, to box at a professional level or play basketball at a professional level, and if you're a fan, you can catch on and all this shit, you can do it.
It's, at the end of the day, is sports entertainment, right? It's still a sport per se, in a way or two. So when you have athletes, the transition is so much easier. You just got to put the acting and the mic things to it, because everything else should come normal to you.
Right. And that's the interesting part is you have people who come in who are very theatrical, but they have to learn the wrestling stuff. And it might be a struggle for the people who are better at promos to be better at wrestling. And then you have the people who are better at the sports stuff who are like not so good at the promos. And then you have every so often you get like a Ric Flair who happens to be good at both. You just get, or like a Kurt Angle. That's a better example. Like a Kurt Angle who's just a wrestling machine.
Stone Cold played football. The Rock played football. Roman Reigns played football. There's a lot of Kurt Angle, a great wrestler, like you said.
And these were all high level.
Basketball player. These are all guys I'm talking about college and up. Some are pros.
Right.
The only guy that like really wasn't a good wrestler that was an athlete that I remember really was Goldberg. Fuck Goldberg, by the way. But Goldberg is really the one guy that I could think right now, not because I hate him.
Well, he played for the Atlanta Falcons.
He played for the Falcons, yes. But like Brock Lesnar, wrestler, and played for the Vikings.
So he's Goldberg is the exception that proves the rule. Out of everybody you listed, they all have it. They came from a high-level professional sport somewhere else and came to wrestling, and they were able to conquer it. And Goldberg came from the Atlanta Falcons.
Trig Williams. Great football player.
Really? Where was he?
Very good college player.
Oh. Let me see here. Trick Williams. Man, see, listen, I think these guys, sometimes their regular names are better than their gimmick names. Matrick Mondre Belton? Come on. MMB? I'd root for the MMB. Damn. Trick Williams. All right, how long did he play? Training in early years. Oh, he was in with the CZW. Oh, so he played Hampton Pirates. All right. So he walked on to the South Carolina Gamecocks and played from 2014 to 2016. South Carolina, that's a good football program.
Mm-hmm.
Graduated phys ed.
SEC.
Yeah, that's a tough division to be in. Went undrafted in 2017, assistant coach at a high school. Spring League, he was in the Philadelphia Eagles rookie mini camp and then was not offered a contract. So holy shit. I didn't know this. And I don't know how much of the story they can use because it involves Vince McMahon. After his football career, after he didn't make the Philadelphia Eagles, he sent a tape to the WWE offices to try and get on the XFL roster.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to play in the XFL, and Vince McMahon saw the tape and sent them back an email saying, "Hey, try wrestling instead, bro."
Right. Best decision ever.
Holy shit. And he moved it. Yeah, he started in CZW in Philly. That's like the evolution. It's people who are CZW is very much like ECW, the modern ECW. Yeah, and dude, he 3 years from training on the indies to signing with WWE in 2021. That's fucking great.
Yeah, man. That's an athlete for you, right? Somebody that could put it all together. He was probably very charismatic in high school and in school, outgoing. Crowds didn't bother him. Obviously, crowds don't bother him. He played in front of 60, 80,000 people.
That's pressure. Can you imagine? Right. I mean, I've been to WrestleManias, and I just can't. And that's pressure because it's usually one-on-one. It's you and an opponent, you and a tag team, whatever. But damn, yeah, you're playing football against some big team.
Alabama.
Yeah,
think about going to Alabama.
Oh my God.
And not getting cheered.
Right,
you're getting booed
every single time. That's pressure. So yeah, he could definitely do it. I bet you he's one of those guys where, like, if you talk to his old football teammates and you're like, "Tell me about this guy," they'd be like, "Oh, I'm not surprised that he's a pro wrestler. Like he was always cracking
Charismatic.
jokes and saying shit and cutting promos on us in the locker room and stuff. And we didn't want to do interviews for ESPN Sports or whatever, or, ESPN College Game Day. And he was always doing the interviews for us or something. They will have a story. The people that know him from when he was younger probably have stories that are like, we could see this from when he was like 20. We knew he was going to be.
Especially like his parents or something.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's usually what it is. Cause like the people that rise to the top like this, even like John Cena, I'm sure if you talk to somebody who knew John Cena when he was in middle school, they were like, yeah, we knew John Cena was always going to be a world champion. Like that was his dream from when he was in middle school, like they just knew from then.
Seth Rollins,
yes.
Seth Rollins, all he ever wanted to be in life was a wrestler. All. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Just a professional wrestler.
And you're signing yourself up for a lot when you make that choice at a young age. You're signing yourself up for injuries and sometimes life-changing injuries that make you change the way you wrestle or permanently affects the way you walk or move or lift your arm up to grab something off a shelf. A lot of long days on the road in a crappy car, in a crappy motel room with 5 other guys because you're all wrestling on the same show, and the hotel room was $85 and you each made $20. So if you all pool money, you can get the room and a little bit of food and a little bit of gas before you go to the next show. Like that was the shit that Seth Rollins had to go through in the early 2000s. And, as he was going up and making it to Ring of Honor, then making it to NXT. And the story hasn't really changed that much in the last 20 years. Indie wrestling is still that. The money that you see being thrown around by WWE and AEW, that money is not trickling down. The indies are, you got a budget of $500 to $1,000, and you're hoping that 50 people pay $20 a ticket so you can pay everybody. That's just the reality of a lot of indies. Or they might not even, the guys who wrestle the first 5 matches might not get paid, and you might only get paid if you're in like the main event or like their intercontinental style championship. There's a lot of that going around too. So you have to persevere through a lot of bullshit in order to rise to the top in an industry like pro wrestling. So
that's definitely a grind, man. To be a wrestler, you really want, like, especially back then, you really want it. Even now, I mean, like, look at the indies. Like, these guys are grinding every day. Everyone is not a Matt Cardona.
Right. And it's changed because it used to be, even like the 70s and 80s, man. Think about that. You're on the road in some fucking station wagon, driving to some town that got electricity like fucking yesterday, wrestling in front of a bunch of hillbillies. You got to wrestle legit 300 days a year. You're on the road if you're wrestling in the 70s and 80s just to make a living. But now it's a little bit different because not only do you have to be good at the wrestling and the promos, you have to be good at social media. You have to be good at like fucking video editing and Photoshop.
You got to live it and breathe it every day.
You got to market yourself. You got to be on Twitter or you got to be on Instagram. You got to be on TikTok. You got to film skits or something. Like you have to do something to make yourself stand out amongst everyone else. And that's a hard grind too. It's a whole different grind than the 70s and 80s, trying to make it in wrestling kind of deal. And even different from the early 2000s was when like your CM Punks and your Seth Rollinses were all coming up. And that was, there were barely DVDs. Like people don't remember this. Like I heard about CM Punk and all of these other guys by almost rumor years before I could watch them wrestle. You had to find somebody that had a tape or a DVD. You had to order a DVD off a shady website and hope that it showed up. Like it was, the internet wasn't what it was. It was the Wild West out there, and you only got bits and pieces. There wasn't a YouTube that was uploading full wrestling pay-per-views. It was like you were lucky to get a clip on like Real Player or Windows Movie Maker that somebody like uploaded to a website, and you got like a minute of a match or 30 seconds or something. Like it was hard to stand out back then because distribution was different. And then when the internet hit, that kind of changed everything. When social media, came about. I don't know. Little wrestling history for you guys, since we're done with the pay-per-view. We're a little extra baseball here, bonus cantos. But I don't know. You got anything you want to finish up with? Any final thoughts before we pack up? Enjoy our Thanksgiving, the Black Friday sales, Survivor Series War Games this weekend, and then we'll be back at it on Tuesday. Any final thoughts, Al?
No, just happy holidays to everybody, man. Thank you for listening. It's going to be a great holiday.
Yeah.
And, we have War Games, baby, Sunday. Let's go.
Absolutely. The Thanksgiving tradition that literally used to be on the Wednesday night. Imagine that. You're a WWE superstar. You got to wrestle on pay-per-view the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. Let me see here. Steve usually puts some song on with really low in the background while I do the wrap-up thing. Sure. I'll just go back to Brock since we didn't even talk about Brock fell on his ass. Brock fell on his fucking ass.
That was awesome.
This already cursed promo. And then Brock just falls right on his fucking ass.
That just put the cherry on top. And then he proceeded to puts the hat on Braun Breaker. That was great.
The hat on Braun. Everybody's trying not to crack up. Oh, beautiful. All right, we can end on that because that was the moment that defined the opening of Raw. Oh, well, yes. Thank you guys for tuning in. Happy Thanksgiving to those of you who celebrate. As Al said, we thank you for listening. We thank you for subscribing and all that and being with us year round. I'm sure we get more thanks as we get closer to the holidays again in December, but Thanksgiving's a holiday too, damn it. I hate when people skip over Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is one of the best holidays. It's all about food and family. So thank you for tuning in. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy War Games this weekend. We'll be back Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time for another edition of the War Report After Dark. You can follow us on social media at Tag Me A Date. If you go to Facebook, type in Tag Me A Date into the search bar, you will find our page. You give it the old thumbs up. Just click the thumbs up. You like our page. You're following us now, and the live stream will pop up in your news feed on Facebook. If you go to YouTube, type Tag Me A Date in the search bar. Again, our channel will pop up. Hit the subscribe button and also hit notification bell. And then you'll be sent a notification to your phone or your tablet when we go live Tuesday nights at 9. You can also follow at Tag Me A Date on Instagram or Twitter/X. And we post updates and shorts and reels there. We also post them to our TikTok. The TikTok is the War Report Podcast. That's all one word. Put it in the TikTok search bar. Follow our TikTok, and again, you'll get reels or shorts of what we discussed the prior week as we lead up to next Tuesday's podcast. That's the best way to follow us is just, stick on social media. You can keep updated if for some reason we move the show, or if you just want to hear what we're talking about throughout the week. If you prefer an audio version of the podcast instead of the video version, you can head on over to your favorite podcast app, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Type in Tag Me A Date, type in the War Report. You'll see our icon. It's in the top right-hand corner. It's also our background right now. You'll see the icon. You'll also see in the description Steve, Vince, etc. You'll know it's us by all of that. Just hit the subscribe button on your podcast app. Ryan takes the audio from the podcast, and usually within the day, it's Tuesday night, so usually sometime Wednesday, between Tuesday night and Wednesday, you will get your podcast version. And that, just as long as you're subscribed, goes right to your phone or tablet, so you can take it with you when you're driving, doing laundry, going to the gym, whatever it is that you're doing throughout your day where you are listening to podcasts. And if you're sick of true crime podcasts and the Joe Rogan Experience, you can listen to us instead. Yes, Tara says happy Thanksgiving, and I think that's the best way to end it. Aside from fuck Goldberg. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next Tuesday. Happy Thanksgiving.